Hi everyone, welcome to the year-end review and reflection video. I started this practice last year of summarizing the previous year's achievement, but for this year, I've purposefully added a reflection part to this video. After all, it's only when one steps back and takes a broader view of life can he or she really see how much progress has been made. I'm sure the great Buddha would have said something similar, but for now, let's take my digital journey as an example. So this started in the year 2000 when I opened an email account on yahoo.com with some 4 MB of storage. By 2006-7, I was on networking platforms like Facebook and Orkut. Around the same time, I did my first online transaction, bought a flight ticket on Make My Trip. 2008, 2009, thanks to a Wi-Fi connection, I started watching videos on YouTube. 2011, my first e-commerce purchase, a pair of Puma shoes on Flipkart. In 2012, I headed an insurance company's digital business. 2015, ET Money introduced me to mobile apps. Then in 2020, I hosted the company's YouTube channel. And it was in 2022, 22 years after consuming services for free or spending money online, that I finally made my first rupee from the internet at the age of 42. Pretty soon, one became two, two turned to 20, 100, 1,000, 10,000 rupees, a lakh. And today I'm happy to report I have finally earned my first crore from the internet. This is over 3 years of effort, marking a rather significant and proud milestone for myself. I'll take you through the specifics of this in this video as we go through different metrics, views, subscribers, revenue, and a few other things. All this will be a part of the review. And when it comes to reflections, I must say the year 2025 did not go as planned. I'll present those things as well, but I do have a request. Before some of you are tempted to write a suggestion in the comments and advice saying, oh, you should have done this, etc., I request you to watch the entire video first because there are many angles to what I do or a creator does that you may not have considered. So sit back, relax, listen, observe, reflect on what I have to say, and of course, do take away those parts that are potentially productive to you. All right, so YouTube is my primary source of everything, as in my identity, my work, my livelihood, everything is linked to YouTube. So let's start with that. Okay, first up is subscribers, something I have stopped asking for entirely in my videos now. अब तो वो छोटू शंकर भी नीचे से pop out नहीं होता है. So the year 2025 yielded 48,000, so just about 4,000 new subscribers per month, which is a big drop, almost a lakh subscribers less than what I clocked in 2024. While a poor stock market performance was partly responsible for this, a bigger blame can be attached to the fact that I published only 39 long format videos this entire year, which is half of what I did in 2023 and is 20% lower than my 2024 numbers. As to why the number of videos were so low, well, this year, 2025, saw a lot of disruption at my end, especially in the first few months of the year until April, when I was very involved with launching my investing community. Things normalized a bit from May, but then in September and October, I again went through a small burnout phase. So essentially, I was almost out of action for 5 out of 12 months, which is quite a bit. And understandably, the algorithm did penalize me in terms of views and subscriber count. That said, I'm not someone who gets very bothered with a lack of views or number of subscribers. But one thing to understand is that a YouTuber's path is not your typical SD1, SD2, etc. The path is never linear, and anyone who has been in business or is self-employed would understand the stop, start nature of work. Okay, let's look at revenues now. I'm sure you're aware there are many ways of earning from YouTube: advertising, sponsorships, brand collabs, affiliates, memberships. These are just some of the direct monetization opportunities that are available within YouTube. And then there are additional ones wherein some part of the traffic might opt for paid courses, webinars, advisory reports, community access, consulting, one-on-one coaching, workshops, etc. Unfortunately, I don't do most of these, and the revenue I made in 2025 was entirely from two direct revenue sources. That is, advertising, those ads that you see if you don't have YouTube Premium, and then from brand collaborations or sponsorships. In numbers, I made some 7,72,000 rupees from YouTube advertising. This is for 2025. I'm also including the number of views here. And as I touched upon earlier, this year 2025 was a slow one for me in terms of views, videos, and therefore revenue, especially when compared to the previous year. If you're wondering why the ratio between advertising revenue and the number of views seems to be better this year, well, it's more to do with a metric called RPM. So RPM stands for revenue per milli, and very simply, it's the amount of money a creator receives for every 1,000 views. In the early days, this number was only 80 rupees, but by 2023, the RPM for my channel had stabilized to around 160. 2024 was pretty much the same, but the big jump came in 2025, and YouTube advertising now consistently offers me RPMs of 200 rupees or more. In addition to AdSense, I make money from brand collaborations, partnerships, and sponsorships. These are approximate numbers, but mota, I must have made around 35 lakhs this year. And with an additional 6.5 coming from YouTube advertising, my total revenue, remember, revenue for the year comes to 41.5 lakhs. Let's spend a minute on this slide. So firstly, the numbers I've presented here, these are revenue numbers. I've removed GST as that money is anyways not with me, it goes to the government. But from here, we have to further deduct expenses before we arrive at the pre-tax profits. Expenses for me would include the cost of hiring a videographer, an editor, equipment cost, lights, microphone, some software subscriptions I have to have even for content. I need those subscriptions. And eventually all of this adds up, which means when I say I made almost 42 lakhs in 2025, the actual pre-tax profit will be closer to 36 lakhs. Now, a number like 36 lakhs is nothing great. It's less than what I used to earn some 3 years back as salary. But again, please don't judge me for this. Don't extrapolate this data point, because what's also true is that I have not been maximizing my potential. I'll talk more about this in a bit when we come to my 2026 plans. The third thing to notice here is how lumpy the cash flows are. This graph is for 2025. I've included advertising and sponsorship revenue. It's in red and blue. And see this, in the case of advertising, the money is fairly constant. It's an average of 60,000 a month plus minus 10,000 rupees. However, the income received from sponsorship is fairly up and down. This, of course, is a function of the number of videos I can do. I barely did anything in April, May, and September. It also depends on the budgets these brands have. And then there's this thing with brands wherein most marketers tend to evaluate the campaigns on the basis of cost per view and similar metrics. I raise this because I'm one of those creators who isn't recognized for his frequency of videos, but more on the depth of content, the authenticity of it, and its actionable nature. I'm explaining you all this just to give you a better understanding of how this business works. These are important decisions that every creator, whether existing or prospective, has to make at some point in time. For example, I could have very easily chosen to have made clickbaity videos. So things like some masaledar scam-based case study, top 3 mid-cap stocks to buy right now, yeah, sabka favorite, the crash is coming, what to do, etc. This is just a sample. There are lots of decisions one has to make, and specific to brand promotions, because that's the bulk of my income. I think now I have something which I really like. This is my association with PowerUp Money, a mutual fund advisory app, which I must say is an absolutely excellent platform. I'm myself a user, and PowerUp Money is where I go when I'm not sure which MF to invest in, or a bigger use case from a me perspective is on whether I should continue to hold on to a scheme or should I redeem it. So do try out PowerUp Money if you haven't done that yet. The link is available in the description of this video. With regards to commercials, I do get a monthly retainer from them. In return, I have to make 6 videos a month, which is good because firstly, it disciplines me. And you can see the result in November and December when I finally woke up from my slumber and made 11 videos over 2 months. And the second thing which I really like about the team at PowerUp Money is that they continue to give me a free hand on the video topics and content that I wish to explore. In fact, I was a bit perplexed as to why a mutual fund related company wants to associate with me. And I think what really worked in my favor is that the team there were and are big fans of my work for many years. And honestly, I'm also very happy working with the team there. They're genuinely nice people, very flexible, accommodating, and they're doing things with a long-term view in mind, which I really liked. Okay, what else? Oh yes, I am very happy to report that 42 of my videos have crossed the 1 lakh views mark. That's 42 out of 180 odd long format videos that I've created. And relatively 91, so about half of the videos I've produced have crossed the milestone of 50,000 views, which is something I'm really proud of. Okay, before I share my plans for 2026, let's look at what my goals were for last year, 2025, and how did I go about it. So essentially, this is what I had planned. The slide is from my last year's video. The green ticks were my goals for 2025. Okay, so YouTube advertising and sponsorships is my bread and butter. It's something I am doing and will continue to do. The community is something I had tried and tested for a couple of months before coming to the conclusion that this required more people at my end to manage it well. By my reckoning, it'll need a team of at least 6. So excluding me, a couple of researchers who can work alongside me to identify solid companies and opportunities, someone to manage the platform, that is a community manager, someone to take care of growth via partnerships, performance marketing, emails, etc. And lastly, 2 more guys who can manage YouTube, that is the research and the editing, as YouTube will continue to be my primary channel of acquisition for the community. Honestly, I don't think I'm ready for this to run a community as a business. The same thing applies for Smallcase as well. That too requires a team of people, a bunch of subscriptions, and most importantly, or maybe this is specific to me, it's also the ability to manage the stress that comes from taking decisions that impact other people's money. This is not easy to do, and not everyone has the same risk profile as I have, and that builds up anxiety, at least in me. Another reason why I found the community, and I'm sure why I'll find the small case bit also overwhelming, is because these are long term contracts, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And honestly, I'm someone who wants to retain that flexibility that allows me to experiment, move in and out of things. Yeah, I'm sure you understand what I'm coming at. That said, nothing is cast in stone, and if I'm mentally prepared, if some elements of the infrastructure shows up, then who knows? I might be ready to commit myself to these things as well. But one thing that really interests me and what I believe is my strength is the teaching, the education side of things. My recent Learn on the Go series is a good example of this. And in spite of these videos taking 25, 30, even 40 minutes, I think it's helping a lot of viewers understand investing better with tons of real life case studies, screeners, frameworks, learning modules, additional resources, etc. Remember, PowerUp Money has contracted for 6 videos a month, so that's 72 Learn on the Go videos. And this is part 1 of my 2026 plan. That is, I continue my YouTube channel, and the target is 72 videos, which comes to 1 video in 5 days. The second thing I'm very keen on trying out is the launch of a course. I've not made up my mind on the topic or the duration, on pricing, etc. But again, what I want to do is to approach it per the structure and format that has worked well for me. Let me not get into specifics just yet. When the time is right, I will take help of my community, all of you guys, to get this as close as possible to what you and I want out of it. I must say, a course is not a very impressionable word nowadays. There are enough people who have abused it in the past. So I think the perception part will be a bigger challenge as compared to the value addition bit, and that's absolutely fine with me. If you're wondering where this course wala confidence has come from, a lot of it has to do with a recent webinar I gave. This one, which by the way, some 1,200 people attended, and I received some 15, 20 emails separately thanking me for it. No need to thank me. In fact, I should be thanking you. I have this morbid fear of talking in a live environment, and I'm happy and relieved to have survived 1.5 hours of that webinar. So 72 YouTube videos and a course or workshop. Specifics will come in later. So that's my simple plan for 2026. All right. I'd like to end this video by going back to the beginning of it with the fact that I made my first crore from the internet in 3 short years, doing a lot less than what I could have done. And that's really my challenge to you. Not a crore, not 10 lakhs, not even a lakh, but try to make just 10,000 rupees in active income off the internet in the year 2026. It doesn't need to be YouTube. You can monetize via blogging, podcasting, affiliates, ebooks, freelancing, online workshops. There are like dozens of options on how one can use this wonderful thing called internet to make money. On my part, everything I do is from this room. It's just 10 feet by 10 feet. I don't even use this in its entirety. And in terms of my expenses for creating, say, one video, earlier it was about 15,000 rupees. That is the money I had to pay to my videographer and to my editor. But the format that I now use, this Learn on the Go series, and also this video, I now have a very lean setup. I already have the lights, the microphone, I record from a webcam, I do the editing myself. And therefore, what was an expense of 15,000 rupees per video is now down to just 200 rupees. The point I want to make is that if one really thinks of it, money or infrastructure is not the problem. I'm a good example of that. I now make videos for just 200 rupees. How to implement isn't a problem either. There are an unimaginable number of videos on YouTube itself from where one can learn anything. Which means the real problem is our mindset that stops us from creating something useful, something valuable, which, if done decently well, can transform our own lives. Anyway, in addition to money, don't forget there are many more important things in life: health, travel, family, hobbies, tons of things. And I really hope you live a very well balanced life, not only in 2026, but much beyond that. As always, thank you for your time. I wish you well, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.